because we used to play under those houses. That used to be the places that the children would just play under the house. And there are still houses like that there.
That's why it was so devastating when Katrina hit, because some of those houses had no foundation. You know, no. I mean, they just went straight up. You know, to the you know, when the waters rose, the house rose too. You know, so yeah, major differences that took place. So yeah, all of these changes that we see, you know, these things are more than just you know, just minor stuff. Lloyd Byron says to give a shout out to let's see, people at the Compton Mall, yeah, which no longer exists now. I think it's like
oh wow,
yeah, Compton Mall used to be Sears and Roebuck. You know what?
Right.
Now Sears and Roebuck, they just got rid of Roebuck completely. Just, you know, I think Roebuck was the black component to the Sears.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Who I think, and so there is no more Sears, and that could be. You might want to YouTube that and find out if I'm telling the truth. Okay, but yeah, now they just call it Sears. You know, so things have changed. We were at Jack in the Box last week, and as we were in Jack in the Box, my sister said to me, she says, "Whatever happened to the little real actual Jack in the Box that used to be outside of Jack in the Box?" And it was remember, and so there was an image of Jack, a little statuesque image of Jack, and he had the speaker would be at his mouth. And it'd be little holes in the round Jack in the Box, and so you would hear. They tried to create the image that the Jack in the Box was talking to you, and so she said, "Whatever happened to that?" I said, "That Jack in the Box has been dead. They've been doing something other than the Jack in the Box for years. Yeah, so it is concretely over. Now they might bring it back." You know, they've had the golden arches for years. They didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, I've gone to McDonald's who have, you know, didn't have golden arches on the outside, but when you saw the McDonald's, the logo is actually the Mac was always the golden arches. You know, so I remember the original McDonald's that was in San Bernardino, and that building became an historic landmark, but they had those golden arches up there for many years. Many years. You know, the more I talk, the older I feel. I remember too many old things, okay? So yeah, wow, those are many major changes that have taken place in life. And so we've been talking about these changes. Let me tell you this, you guys. One of the things that I have found out that creates so many challenges in relationships is changes. Just the inability to change as you grow in your relationship. The inability to be able to shift from being a child in your behavior and a child in your attitude, a child in your perception of things. You know, those things that change over time, a lot of people refuse to change with it in your marriage, in your relationship. You don't think the way you did when you were that, you know, infatuated, you know, lusting teenager, if you will. You don't think the same way. And let me tell you something, Facebook. Let me those of you that are watching us right now, we don't look the way we did when we were 19, 17, and 16. You know. Now I tell my wife all the time. I've seen pictures of her when she was a teenager, and I tell her, I say, "You just as foxy now as you were back then." No, she just emphatically says, "No, stop lying. I don't look the way I did back then." But, you know, I just think that you have to understand that in relationships, everything that looks the way it does as a teenager, you know, eventually stuff is going to start sagging. Hair is going to change color. Things that were perky start drippy and That ain't the same. It's not the same. But you're attracted to a whole new different thing. As an older woman now, what do you see as being attractive in men that maybe you couldn't see when you were younger?
I think more so the way they perceive things, the way they respond
Okay.
to things in life. That is very attractive to me when I see an older person able to not fly off the handle, that's thin skin. I expect to see wisdom.
Okay. So that's more attractive to you than green eyes and
Oh, yes. Yes.
as they used to say, good hair,
Good hair.
light skin, or whatever. Those things are not as attractive.
No, they're not.
Okay.
A person that is stable
Mm-hmm.
and, not just here today and gone tomorrow, but that a stable way of operating
All right.
in life.
Yeah.
That's very attractive.
Okay, that's good. What about money-wise? How do you see yourself in terms of obviously you got me. But do you think that women today are looking for things like money and stuff differently?
Very differently.
Okay.
I think stuff and money and all those things that the world identify as status is what women are looking for until they get older and realize, yeah, those things are nice, but they're not as necessary as you once thought they were.
Right. Yeah, as you get older, you start looking for a whole another set of values, Mm-hmm. You may not have the same sexual prowess that you had when you were 18, 19, 30, 40. And so things like conversation become very important mm-hmm. to you. Being able to actually get along and having a wonderful time of sharing expressions and things like that become more important. You choose your battles, I think. Much more wisely. Things that before might have been important to discuss. It's like, you know what? I just like us talking, mm-hmm. rather than who's going to win. Right. I just like being able to share rather than whose point is more important and mm-hmm. who's more valid. And so you enjoy life in a different way. That's a change that takes place that can be a challenge because the transition to the change is sometimes the most challenging, the transition to the change. Your mind may not be changing, but your body is changing, right. Or your body is changing and your mind's not changing, and so those things can affect, even the best marriage can go through those kinds of changes.
Can you imagine when your values are changing because you're getting older and you're seeing things differently, but you're not in the place to embrace the change because you were going in a direction now that you realize was not the best.
Right. And at the time, nobody could tell you different.
And so now you're realizing that, you know what, I need to make a shift here.
Absolutely.
And the shift may be painful depending on how aggressive you were in the other direction. Yeah, that's true. Or how stuck you are in your opinion about a situation. There have been things that have taken place we're going on 13 years of marriage, and there were ways that I did things or she did things when we first got married that have evolved into other ways of doing things. She used to be at work. We used to call each other every morning, for instance, every morning.
call, either we'd be on the way to work or something like that, and as time has gone on, well, she's retired now. I'm not. Well, she's not calling me, every morning, and because we're looking at each other, so it's very, very different now. There was something once I had heart surgery. Life changed for me when I had heart surgery. Things shifted. It wasn't the same as it was. My body was different. All of these things take place, and they're different. So one of the things I really want to tell you, and those of you especially who are in marital relationships, you should always know that even though you're in this relationship, and it may be one way now, but it doesn't mean it's always going to be in the same manner. It's going to change. Doesn't mean you don't love each other. It doesn't mean you don't. I feel like that over these years, I love my wife more, deeper. I have more quality love for her than I did when we first got married. And so, but again, things are different. We may not call every day or something like that. Now we may text every day. We may not have the same level of our wants and desires may be different. But those changes that have taken place are changes that I think have made our relationship better. I think it's deeper. I think that the things that she sees in terms of what she expects out of me, can you share with our audience any expectations that may be different now than they were when we first got married? Do you expect more or less? Do you see things, the values differently in our marriage?
I see things differently because I've learned to look at who you are as opposed to who I want you to be.
Ah, that's good. Go ahead.
And that has changed my expectations and has allowed me to appreciate the person that you are.
Okay, all right.
And not try to force you into a box of what I want. And, that also allowed me to see God in the relationship.
Yeah.
Because God is able to help me with that appreciation and being able to allow you to be who you are.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. And so a lot of times what we do is, again, we're thinking in one way. We have a perception of one thing, but the bottom line is, as time goes on, your perception changes.
Yes.
Your perception changes. As you get older, you start seeing things differently. Wow. Listen, we are coming up on our break time here. It's coming up slowly. And I just hope that what you're getting here has been valuable. We're going to continue to talk about change. I'm going to be doing some quotes that are all about change. And I'm going to be reading from some of those quotes and giving you my insight on those quotes. And so you can feel free to be able to just kind of, come into this time of sharing. We want you to grow. We want you to be able to change as well. Now, if you're on Facebook Live, that's fine. We just kind of found out today that we don't always know who's listening or who's watching us on Facebook, because sometimes people have told us that they're watching us and we can't even see the numbers on Facebook. I'm sure there are people watching right now, but the way that we see it, there's nobody watching. So we're kind of getting that. If you're on KTGDSRadio.com, we want you to, email us, contact us, let us know if you had questions, anything like that we can be of help to you. But we're going to talk about change a little bit more. I'm going to be doing the second half and really focusing on some of these different kinds of quotes and insights from people all over the world who are talking about change, okay? We've got people right now all over the world. We got people in Japan. We got people in Africa. We've got people in Europe.